Шановні колеги,
Dear colleagues, we continue working day in the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, and the current briefing is devoted to the program post-military adaptation for war veterans. I have come back. We have Ms. Olha Chuyko, head of the International Association for Support of Ukraine, the organizer of this project, Ms. Daria Shevchuk, doctor in psychology. We have Danyluk, doctor in psychology from Shevchenko University. Vasyl Shevchenko from the Ministry of Social Policy. We have Oleksandr Sarabun and Anatoly Gorbenko, former servicemen of Donbas. We have Iryna Ulezko, participant of the program, medical psychologist, and Mr. Denis Polishuk, representative of Foundation, the Planned Action. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The program of post-military adaptation of war veterans in Ukraine is an urgently needed I do not wish to say problem, but it's our common business. The current military conflict in the east of Ukraine, some people call it anti-terrorist operation, some people, I call it the war, results in a situation when almost half of the mobilized people, that is 150,000 of servicemen come back home, but they do not come back really. They arrive physically, but they need our understanding, which we are unable to give them. We should provide very special assistance to them. And today we are presented the first stage of post-war adaptation for war veterans. We organized this jointly with the Mental Hope Foundation, and we invited to our 2-week training a person who possesses huge experience, who has a big heart, very Ukrainian heart, who had been teaching psychology, trauma, and post-trauma experiences, and we invited this person to share the experience, how to overcome this terrible situation where our veterans find themselves, where our Ukraine finds itself. So let us try to understand the instruments, how we can become closer with our veterans in order to prevent a situation when they say we were needed very much in the hostility area, while here we are not, here in peaceful environment we are not needed. So we authorized an expert, Ms. Dr. Daria Shevchuk, to address this issue. Dr. Shevchuk, having arrived to Ukraine, has got broad experience after all her interviews with doctors, with psychologists, practitioners, having met many veterans, offered some vision how to tackle the problem, how to come out from the situation. And first of all, we would like to be able to have Dr. Daria Shevchuk as our curator and tutor for the future. Thank you very much. I will speak English because it's easier for me to speak this language.
I'm very grateful to be asked to come and teach this course in Ukraine. I think of myself as a Ukrainian Canadian from Canada, and Ukrainian Canadians in Canada are very, very much for Ukraine. I had the pleasure of teaching 28 chaplains and psychologists who work with Ukrainian veterans. They are caring people. They have a great deal of knowledge already. But the education around trauma is in its early stages in Ukraine. I'm hopeful that as time goes on, there'll be more courses in university about this. And you'll have an opportunity later to hear from some of the students in the course about what they feel they've learned and gained from the course. I want to thank both the foundations that sponsored me here and University of Taras Shevchenko, and also the Ukrainian government representative here for their caring about their traumatized veterans and learning more about how to help them. Thank you.
Дуже дякую, пані Дар'я.
Thank you very much, Daria. Daria had briefly presented our today's speakers, without whom this program won't be possible, because we needed premises, we needed some facilities and means to make this program workable, and I'm very grateful to Ivan Danyluk, doctor in psychology, professor and representative of the Shevchenko University, who assisted us and who has his own vision of this program. Dear colleagues, I'm happy to be here today and to express my position on the development of psychology in this area, in providing assistance to the war veterans coming back home. I'm representing the psychology department, the psychology faculty in the university. We have around 1,000 students. We are quite new faculty, but we are very adaptable and flexible. And in this very case, I'm happy that we are have a privilege to work with our Canadian colleagues, and we have this good opportunity to learn from them, to become closer to the state-of-the-art practices, because in our situation we deal more with the theory. Recently, Stanislav Grof, founder of the trans-psychological approach, and some other prominent experts in these areas. Up today, we cannot speak about reviving the psychological balance in Ukrainian society. We need to provide assistance to Ukrainian servicemen coming back from the front line, from war situation, and to their families. And some experts say that it's easy to get rid of the city, to come back home, but it's not easy to distance from the war, which is inside them. The specificity of the event, which was held in our university, due to foundation chaired by Olha Chuyko, and thanks to Professor Daria Shevchuk, was that assistance to the servicemen is delivered not by very highly qualified psychologists, but also the servicemen who also came back and underwent training, special training. So I'm very happy that Daria agreed to come and devote 2 weeks of her life to this hard work for the sake of Ukraine. I believe that this project, I hope that this project will continue, and I hope also that our master degree students will gain this experience, will learn from the experts from Canada, and that they will be able to exchange their experience with diaspora in Canada. For 3 years, I've been volunteering, although I do not like this this word. But during that 3 years, I've been hearing also the same question, what the government is doing, and we keep criticizing the government all the time. But my experience suggests that we should try to build up our relations based on some very clear principles. And by the way, my cooperation with Mr. Vasyl Shevchenko, First Deputy Minister of Social Policy in Ukraine, during all 3 years of our cooperation, never said no to me, to all my ideas and suggestions. So we hope that the program, which is expected to function up to the end of this year and through the year 2017, very much owes to Vasyl Shevchenko, who consistently represent our interests in the governmental agencies. Thank you for these kind words. I think that I hope that this could be applied to all those people people working in the civil service who wish to serve to our country. I think today's our meeting is just another confirmation, just another demonstration that all Ukrainians of the world stand firm to support our guys in the East, including Ukrainians in Canada. So we wish to gain the victory as quickly as possible. The future change of the country and make it stronger depends on us. We have to cover this path. Sometimes we have discussions, but we are keen to cover this way, this path. The issue of psychological aid or psychological rehabilitation requires building up specifically Ukrainian rehabilitation system. We found it impossible just to repeat systems used in other countries. And today we see huge reserves, huge opportunities, and huge possibility for integration. I think that will become the case and very useful when we will integrate to global structures. I'm sure that Ukraine will stand proof, will survive in this war, and will come out of this war stronger, much stronger. This is important for us and for Ukrainians living abroad. Now, I'm not a member of the government agency. Now I work as an advisor to the government structure. But nevertheless, I hope that if each Ukrainian contributes his effort to our victory, we will win. Post-military adaptation program is not about veterans. It's about everything in our country. For example, when school curricula are drafted in the ministry and the psychological adaptation is the same, do not do this without participation of the military people. Thus, the war veterans became important participants in designing this program. These war veterans who sit next to me, they are my friends, and they had to cover their path of adaptation by themselves. I won't describe this by myself, but simply I would like to give them the microphone. We have Anatoly Gorbenko, who was the volunteer soldier of Donbas battalion. You understand what does it mean to be a volunteer? Before becoming soldiers, they had different occupation, different professions, but they were united with this strive to defend Ukraine. I would ask Anatoly to describe not about his decision to become a soldier, but how he decided to get rid of the war. I'm Anatoly Gorbenko. I am a soldier. I was a soldier in Donbas battalion on June 2015. I was wounded in Mariinka. The most tough thing for servicemen was to understand how to live further. When I came to consciousness, this was the major question to me. A lot of people visited me in the hospital. They tried to help me, but they could not deliver any help. And then my friends, the war veterans with processes, with the same problems that me, with amputations, with processes, came to me, and I understood that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that the life is possible. And in each our city, town, war veterans commit suicides. They die because of alcohol addiction. So I came to understanding that we need to help to all these guys. I hope that we will finally do this. Anatoly, we see Oleksandr Sarabun, who stays very quiet all this time. I would like to say that during 25 years Ukraine raged no wars. The war is very frightening. The war is horrible. It is not anti-terrorist operation. It is real war. That's why psychologists appear to unable to help us. They did not know how to treat those people who were wounded. And here in this community, I found those people. I think this is the first an important briefing. I understood that you are first group of psychologists who will be trained to work with the servicemen. In 2014, we did not know what the war was, and psychologists did not know how to approach to people. Quite often we heard that people rejected to work with psychologists. I hope that someday in future, some moment in future, we will meet with you, and you will tell me how many people you would help. Among us, we have psychologists who stay with us during 3 years from Maidan events. Our experience could become useful for many countries. I'm not a psychologist, but I became a psychologist because I believe that psychology is the air with which we breathe, and we have to learn something, to be prepared to help people, and to allow us not to burn out ourselves. We would like now to hear from you. To hear from professional psychologists with medical background, from Iryna Ulezko, to hear what she thinks about what we are doing and what we are going to do.
Thank you very much. Why I am in this project? I'm head of department. I work with the state program you told us about, and from 2015 I saw a lot of soldiers, and we face such a problem that we are lacking instruments of work, and we don't have experience that other countries have, where war was for many years, and we have 2 years of war. And I want to thank our guys, because we are psychologists of different categories, and we try to help you, and there are a lot of people who want to help, and I'm thankful for Oля that we got united, and that we share experience. And to Daria has a huge experience working with trauma, and she really helps. She shows the strategy how to do it, and I have some experience, but I do not have a clear strategy. We didn't have it here in Ukraine. What and how should be done? And each of us, each psychologist, they should all participate. And I help Daria and all our teachers, all our instructors who share their experience. And we thank all our colleagues who share their experience, because this group, this project, helps us to get united and to participate and to contribute to the instruments we are lacking in our work with our guys. And I would like to say that I love children very much, and I want that fathers return to their children, to their families, that they could participate in lives of their children, that fathers, they should love their children, because this is love from God. Thank you very much. Thank you. So these wonderful emotional words, but I would like to tell you not my words, but the words of our guest, Daria. She said the instruments, this is you. You are the main instruments. And I remember these words. These words are simple, and they are really great. And we go to the next level. This is new for our post-Soviet state, and each of us has its quota of contamination by the past, and we are instruments for one another, and we should shift and we should change our consciousness. We should understand how to thank people, how to hear, how to listen, and to introduce good experience, a good program, great practice of Daria Shevchuk, her personal experience, her contribution, scientific work, and also contribution of colleagues. And we hope that we will see her colleagues, Marie Westwood, and other colleagues that will come in 2017. And we hope that they will come here, and they will provide us with the support, and they will provide us with knowledge that we will try to get, and we should contribute, each of us, because we are these instruments for each of us. And I want to tell a lot, but I would like that if you have questions on strategic development, we here in Ukraine solve the crisis, and we get together and we help people. We know the events in the Maidan, and what is the strategy? So what are the views? And this is the question to everyone. What will happen in 2 or 3 years? What prospects do you see? Social and psychological adaptation in the regions, or maybe in some institutions, academic institutions. And I would like that each of you try to answer these questions. And we should go from first to second, third, fourth levels. And this, to overcome the crisis Ukrainian society is now, and through our program of post-war adaptation for the veterans, please, would you like to share your ideas on this? Thank you. I believe that it is necessary to create national center of help and support of our servicemen who return from war, from ATO area, and there should be a single collegial center that would provide opportunities to our psychologists to work, because now there are many different specialists who deliver help, and but not every person is trained enough and ready to help. And the peculiarity of this meeting, not meeting, but our training, that is called I Return, that Daria Shevchuk is from Canada, but she is of Ukrainian origin, and we should remember that psychology is determined by culture, and all the processes, psychological processes, they should be considered taking into account the background of people. And Daria knows our culture because she is Ukrainian by origin, and this is great benefit because different specialists try to help us from all around the world, but we believe that Daria is Ukrainian. Yes, she is Canadian, but the ethnicity is Ukrainian. So that's why I believe that we will greatly cooperate with her further, and she will share her experience, how it is done in Canada and in other parts of the world. This is very important. And also, I would like to stress that if in all universities of Ukraine now, we may say some departments are closed. Now we open the Department of Social Rehabilitation at our institution. And there it is not only social, but also psychological rehabilitation, because any psychological rehabilitation is firstly social. Because Sigmund Freud said in his work, Group Psychology and Analysis of Human Ego, psychology of human is social psychology, because there's no personality outside of society. And we should propose the ways how to solve these problems, how to overcome the situation, and how to establish cooperation and work of the center or agency that professionals, together with the military who returned, that they can provide, would be able to provide social and psychological help. This is my opinion on this. Thank you, Ivan. If I understood correctly, you invite Daria to come here and to join us again. Vasily, are you going to add? Thank you. Dear friends, I would like to say that Ukraine faces a war, and we were able to urgently build and make some courses for those who work with the servicemen who become veterans, and also work with wounded. And now we have the opportunity to create Ukrainian system of psychological help that will be part of people who win. And we are now at the stage when these short-term courses, there is a need in such courses, and they are used in the military and in military detachments, and there are many different methods. But now we establish comprehensive system that provides us with the wish to win, and we believe that no one will be left outside. We are united people. That's what I wanted to say, and I would like to thank Olga, who contributed a lot in order that this happened, and due to her energy, we are able to go up to this new level of development. Thank you. Thank you, and not me alone. I have here Jan, professional serviceman, volunteer, student, who came from Canada when the war started in Ukraine, and he just came to Ukraine, and he went to war to fight for his country. Denis Polishuk, our partners of Mobile Hope Foundation. Thank you, Olga. So I would like to tell you about this idea, how this program was started. So two servicemen came who were supported by our NGO, Maple Hope, and that was Andrei Usich, with whom I met, and also Nazar Berenko, and they met with psychologists in Canada. Canadian specialists were impressed by their strong spirit and that they had such experience, and they still remain humane. And due to these meetings and impressions of specialists from Canada, and also this idea was started then to share this experience that was provided from our Canadian colleagues. And this Canadian methodology that we want to introduce is one of the most successful in the world concerning rehabilitation of the military after their return to civil life. And I would like to add that I understand this need from my personal experience. And also I remember that it's often there were questions, so you went to Karpatska Sich as a volunteer, maybe it is difficult to be in war. No, it's easy to be there. The most difficult is to return to peaceful life. And I personally was rethinking all these events and how they influenced me. And due to the visit of our veterans, I understood the situation better, and together with our organization, we decided that this is the project that will be one of the best for Ukraine. And that's why we want to thank all our partners, and we hope for further cooperation, and that this project will be implemented successfully. So Denis said that he understood the need to restore, to revive, and that it is easy to go to war than to return. And imagine that two guys, and please think about it, that they impressed psychologists and academicians, veterans in Canada. And what can impress more than Ukrainian nation that would get united and use this experience of this people, of this new generation, in order to make changes in our life, because these are future leaders, because they got valuable experience, and that should be assessed properly. It is easier to underestimate, but these are people of great value. There's no such thing as half-truth. That's why I believe that there are chaplains among us, so they understand better what to get this value, because if you didn't have previously, and people, they didn't think about their life, what they do in life, but then the threat appeared. People understood that they have more than just mother, father, their wife, but they understood that they have their motherland that they should defend. This is a valuable experience that people got. That's why, if you want to add and elaborate on this, please. I address the audience, the participants of our program. We have chaplains, psychologists, and volunteers. Yes, please introduce yourself first. Yevgen Bazima. I was the participant of the military actions, and I was wounded. It happened so that I attend this meeting as to concerning rehabilitation. What I want to say, psychologists, they are needed in order to recover after being wounded, after war, and to join civil life, to return. But there are two aspects psychologists do not pay attention to. They can know science, but whether they are able to really establish ties, to establish communication with those who were wounded, to understand those people who returned from war, because for us it is difficult to accept these people. We accept only those people who understand what war is. That's why psychology is great, but I will tell you about two examples that happened in war. So there was position, and there were some psychologists that were brought there because we spent there a lot of time without rotation, and shelling started, and we know that it won't do harm. We got accustomed to it. What psychologists do, they ask what it is, and we say, oh, this is shelling. What psychologists do, they just got, they are in the car, and then they flee. So whether there can be any trust to them after this. And one more example, chaplain. So we were in one military unit, and this person was from the 14th Brigade, and he came to us, and we were with our guys, and we do not allow our other people from other units. And he came us one time, second time, and we start to open to him, and we understand that this is really a psychologist, and he started to try to find a way to the guys. And then I cooperated with this chaplain, and I accept him to the people because I see positive influence on people, because there are no people who do not believe in God who are in the trenches, because if, for example, there are mines or shelling, so people start to believe. And except psychology, we need to invite some we should also include religion into this, because when you, for example, return home and your family doesn't understand you, they believe that you are the same as you were before the war, but after the war you are different. So that's why psychologists should work with the families in order to find common grounds. This is my opinion. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that you should train psychologists in such a way that they maybe should be there in this war zone. They should know how it feels. After this, they will be able to really understand. Yes, of course, they can graduate from the university, but you know that servicemen, they really feel that these people, they just don't understand servicemen.
And I am appalled to hear that a psychologist ran away under those circumstances. That particular psychologist is clearly one that wasn't prepared for this kind of work. In the class that I'm teaching, I have some psychologists that have worked with frontline servicemen and continue to work with frontline servicemen. They do not run away. I'm going to ask maybe Tatiana and Nadia to say something.
Пані Надія і
Nadia and Tatiana, could you comment on this? Because, thank you. I am Tatiana Yermolaeva. I'm teacher of Dnipropetrovsk University, named after Alfred Nobel, and I'm a practical psychologist and a teacher, and I am in starting 2014. For those people, they know Ilovaisk, Katenikova, starting this time, so Marienka, Avdiivka, Shakhta Butovka, Gorlovka, and many others. So when we go to these positions to deliver some assistance, some psychological accompanying, some psychological support, in order to provide psychological help, crisis help, if a person needs this help, and to come to positions and then leave these positions. And if during the time of our being at the positions, we do not leave positions in the course of shellings, because this will threaten the life of psychologists if they start to go from the positions in the course of shelling. So if we stay at positions in the course of shelling, if this is heavy shelling and military actions start, then we as psychologists, as those people who are not the military, we pose the threat. There is threat for the servicemen, because psychologically servicemen, they should repel aggression, and they should defend themselves. But if we are at the positions, they will start to defend us, and that is why when it happens, the guys said, "Girls, please leave." But your battalion, 11th Battalion, Kiev Rus, this is Kiev Battalion, I'm sorry. In 2015, in Shakhta Butovka, we lived for 3 days with them, because the shelling was so heavy that we were not able to leave, and we lived okay there. And this is concerning a company. And now we are speaking about rehabilitation. And this is very important thing, and I believe that we really need help of the guys, the help in the sense that they have experience. We are lacking, the majority of us lacking, because yes, I was there, I came under shelling, but I was not there with them day in, day out. So I wasn't there for such a long period as they did. And I understand this. And those people who were not there, so they try to understand this. That's why we need your help. Sorry. We really need people like you, because In this way, will be able to communicate better with the servicemen, with members of their family, and we will be able to provide the help. And now my colleagues, yes, they provide such help. And here with me, there are people who started to provide such help in Maidan, in hospitals, and in the area, and also at the stage of preparation before servicemen come to the ATO area. And there were 4 waves of mobilization. And I personally work with these people, and those girls, they also worked with 5th and 6th wave of mobilization, and we asked to be able to work with these servicemen, because we know what consequences can be if the guys are not ready, that were not military. They were farmers, teachers. So these were peaceful people. And they were forced, sorry for my Ukrainian, it's not perfect. So they were forced to become servicemen, and this was not natural for them. And those conditions they were in, they were not natural. And we do not understand the conditions they are, because they are terrible. Household conditions, psychological conditions, and they return, and the situation for them really difficult. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, right? I'm just worried too much. I'm really thankful to our Canadian partners and those people who can improve the system in our country, and I'm thankful to our colleagues who work from the first days of war without having experience working with servicemen, because we are all civilians. We are all civilians. And we got this experience with the sweat and blood, and we are happy that this project has started, because this is not only training. A lot you have told us we knew, but now we know that we were correct in doing things. So this is really important, that there are representatives of other countries who gives us the feeling that we are not alone in such a situation. And we need a system, and the system should be at the state level, because everyone who are here, these are volunteers. We are all volunteers. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, guys. Thank you, colleagues. And we thank the project and Nadia Globievska, crisis psychologist, aviation psychologist. So I won't say much, because a lot has been said, and the action is important. The preventive actions should be taken in order to help those who serve in crisis areas. And I shared my experience starting from Maidan, and I would like to tell you about rehabilitation. Just one word, that the human consciousness like this is personal experience, and people just think about the whole population as themselves. And the terrible experience our guys got, they have real value. They are able to win, and we can share this experience with the population. This experience can be spread to people in society, and we thank those who fought there, and we hope that you will share your experience, maybe some painful things, and maybe you can also contribute greatly to the society. And we are really grateful that you fought for us, and we are really grateful for this. you know, we spoke about the system, and I would like to share my experience, and maybe someone will listen. And when you say there are circles when you throw a stone into the water, that's why I would like to address to my colleagues. I'm really proud that I am here with you. So when our guys, and they are the best when they are there, and our psychologists, they work as they can. So we didn't have experience of war, and psychology is not really developed in our country. We didn't have such experience. And after the serviceman served there and survived, so he has a mission, and they should know about it.
So when we allow the servicemen to come to peaceful life, and we have to assist former soldiers to reunite with their families, with their wives, with their children. Many families do not know what to do if they have this post-trauma syndrome. Many people do not know what does it mean, and of course this should be done on the framework of uniting the serviceman, his wife, his children, to explain people what's going on, to explain that the serviceman is a normal person. And after medical and psychological rehabilitation should go in, they should go in parallel. And then we should have psychological assistance. When I work with soldiers, they say, that's good, but my wife left me because I'm crying at night. I'm not taken to my previous job, and people do not want to have me close to them. There should be social support. The government, the state, should carry out specific work and explain that the soldiers, these war veterans, have a big experience. If we bring everything together, if you take all the experiences, experience of Daria and all the professors who support Ukraine, we will be the best, and we psychologists will be able to help other people and to bring up a nation of psychologists knowing what they are doing and what for do they work. Thank you, Iryna. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to our war veterans who return to their families, who do not wish to stop at this point, and who wish to help our war veterans. And I'm very grateful to Ms. Daria, to Doctor of Psychological Sciences, to a person with a huge heart. And I thank to everybody who stand for Ukraine. Thank you to all our partners. Partnership of Shevchenko University, partners from government.
Дякуємо кожного з нас, але нагадую, що ми зараз підходимо до завершення програми поствійськової ветеранів, котра має головну особливість, це принаймні перший її етап завершується.
We're now finalizing the first stage of this program, and then we will have the second stage of the program, veterans as trainers, veterans, those who need the program. We will have 3D program, and each of participants will participate in this peer-to-peer program, and in this equality position will be able to use experiences of all of us. Hope soon we'll see.
Поствійськової адаптації до родинної реабілітації.
Iryna mentioned family rehabilitation, and we will have this family rehabilitation.
Хтось бажає зробити обов'язково селфі чи спільну фотографію, то всіх заохочуємо до дискусії.
Лично я уже
Please join the photo.
Брифінг закінчений, і я сподіваюся, це перший етап наших зустрічей. Дякую.